My name is Judith, or Judy, Scolnik. I was born in March of 1943. My grandfather came on his own from Poland to Toronto in 1903. By 1920 is when he got the job working for Laura Secord. I think he was working as a watchmaker in a shop, and my grandmother explained it to me. She said, you know, right at College and Avenue Road. Like, you know, sort of like, in other words, south of the Parliament building somewhere, probably along College Street, in a jewelry shop. He was a watch repairman. He wasn't very happy with it. He felt he wasn't that skilled at being a watchman, but what are you going to do? My mother was born in 1914, and she was the youngest, so they already had a family, and they had a house, and his mother-in-law had also come across the ocean to live with them, and they were making a living somehow. But I gather that he met this gentleman one day when he was on his lunch break. I think he said the man was selling candies out on the street. And then he just struck up a conversation with him. He turned out to be from Ireland, an Irishman, and he liked my grandfather. They started chatting. It turned out that my grandfather had an outstanding palate. He could kind of figure out what made up foods, tasting it. And it's, you know, just one of those things. How, I don't know. In any case, the gentleman said, I bet I could find you a job at the people that I know, because he was in the candy trade in some way. He said, I'm going to see if you can get an interview or something at Laura Secord's. Now, Laura Secord's candies, still around. They still make the best chocolate bars ever. In any case, somehow or other, my grandfather was hired. Now, the interesting thing here is we're talking about 1920, that we're talking about a Jewish, clearly Jewish, a man named Harry Goldman, who has been in Canada for less than 20 years, has taught himself English. He's a very bright man. And he's being interviewed for a job at a company owned by a very well-renowned but known Irish Catholic firm who only hire Irish Catholics. But they hired Harry Goldman. Something about him, but they were impressed with him, and he continued to work for them for well over 40 years. I have in my possession a certificate, a framed certificate, issued in 1945, that it was to Harry Goldman, that they gave his 25th anniversary working for them. Now, given that I was born in 1943, I was 2 years old when that happened, and my grandfather continued to work for them for at least another 20 years. At least. It could have been more. I think it was over 45 years. I used to wonder why kids got pennies and would go to the penny store to get their candies and chocolates after school. They can hardly wait to run in, and I go, well, that stuff doesn't taste that good, because I was used to eating the best of the best, because my grandfather, of course, would bring it home. He would even bring home a thing of chocolate that big, a pound or two of chocolate, the raw chocolate, before it was melted down to become part of the candies that they were making. And I know he did develop a couple of their new products. And I also have a little book that has all of the original recipes for the candies that were made at Laura Secord. So it was like part of our life. He was a lovely man. And this is a man who was self-educated, but had been a rabbinical student and knew exactly what he was talking about, and his English was excellent. He must have had an accent, but I don't remember him having an accent. His English was very good. even though, you know, he grew up in a small town in Poland. So, but I think it was this ability to almost walk into the factory, and go, no, somebody's used too much cinnamon, or whatever it might have been. I think he just had this, he had a talent for that, and he knew what he was doing.